This is Gemara Eruvin Daf Pei Tas. So learning should be as close for Shleim of Yudamir Ben Akir Men Ben Chayim Ron Sar Shom Zimei Zayt Sar Bas Kenendol Ita Basim As Chay Sar Yusachem Sar Es Yustom Ben Mental Is President of Leishom Bas Tom Biv Shavim Shechano Fel Dav Ben Ita Riva Danom Ben Chano Reza Level Buria Bas Tovia Musa. We begin a new parak. We close it on Eruvin. Let's begin the 9th parak. Kol Gagoy Sa'ir. All the roofs of a city, Rishos Achas, are all considered one Rishos. You could carry freely from one roof to another roof. Ubelvad. Says Rav Meir, all the roofs are one, as long as they're not higher and lower 10 tefachim from each other. Of course, we'll read the Mishnah and then we'll show pictures. Says the Gemara, Chum argue, each roof is its own rishos. Obviously, the implication therefore is going to be you're not going to be able to carry from one roof to the next at an Eruv. Rav Shimon Aimer, all these different areas, for what? For items that began Shabbos inside there, but not for items that began inside the house. See the first picture. Here you have your gagoys, you see all the different roofs, you walk around different roofs, you see their nice walls so you don't fall off. We'll discuss that in the Gemara. It says over here that as long as they're pachais from 10 amos, one roof to the next, that's the first sheet, they're all going to be considered one roof. Here's just another picture, as you see, here it's showing that it's more than 10 tefachim, then it's going to be considered a next rishos. Over here, you see a nice depiction of the shita of Rav Shimon. As you see, it's showing you different kelim that when they're supposed to be not in the house, then you can move them. As you see, kli karfeif, the different items, the knapsack over there, kli chatzar, you have the children's toys, then you have the things in the house, different items. They show very nicely for items that are supposed to be in the chatzar, and the roof, etc. Those items you'll have to move according to Rav Shimon. Says the Gemara, Yosef Abaya bar Ravin, Rav Chanina bar Ravin. V'yosef Abaya Gabaya, V'yosef Kamri, Bish, Shlomo Rabbanan, Tzarik Shem Shed Yurin Chalukim L'Mahata. The opinion of the Chachamim we understand. Down below is one house, on the roof is the second house. Why should it be that all the roofs are one rishus? What's Rav Meir saying? El Rav Meir, Micah Savar. What's his opinion of Rav Meir? Down here I have one house. Next door is another house. But our roofs are all considered one rishus? What's going on? Says the Gemara. I'm sorry, El Rameir, Micah Savar, what does he hold? If he holds that just like they're separated down here, they're separated on the roof, what does it mean that all one rishus? And if he holds Ein Chalukin, that they're not separate rishus on the roof, just like down here, they're all one big rishus, why would he hold that? What's the reason? Again, I have one house here, my neighbor has another house. Why would our roofs be all considered one? Says the Gemara, you know why? The chol malamiyod rishus achasi. Because the reason is, maybe, anything above 10 tefachim, like we've seen already, rishus rabim only goes until 10 tefachim. So maybe we would think if it's above 10, it's all one big rishus. So then says Gemara, 1 second. So what's the difference if the roof is 10 tefachim tall, or the difference in the roof is 10 tefachim tall? It should be the same thing. All of them are above 10. So what's the difference? The one roof is 20 tefachim tall, one roof is 10 tefachim. What's the difference? So we don't understand the opinion of Rav Meir. Says the Gemara, Abaye responded, Lo shmiluchu Adam Rav Yitzchak bar Rav Dimi. Did you not hear that Rav Yitzchak bar Rav Dimi said, Rav Meir, Kol makom shata maitzi shtei rishuyos. Whenever you find two properties, and they're considered one rishos, they're both rishos hayachid, for example. For example, amud rishos hayachid gavaya asara b'racham dalid. You have a pillar that's 10 by 4. And it's in your Rishos HaYachid. So it's a Rishos HaYachid inside a Rishos HaYachid. What's halacha? Asr l'katev alav. You're not allowed to put things on it. You know why? We're afraid if we allow you to put things on top of this pillar, which is 10 by 4 inside your backyard, you might come to put things on this pillar, even in Rishos HaRabim. Which of course, in Rishos HaRabim, it's a Rishos HaYachid inside Rishos HaRabim. That's not allowed. That's the Gzeira. So says the Gemara, according to Rameir, Achinami, in our Mishnah, in the case of the roof, Gzeira Misham Dav Rishos HaRabim. The same thing, we make Gzeira that you can't carry from one roof to the next when there's a 10 tefach difference, because we're afraid you might come to put on top of a pillar inside Rishos HaRabim. Says the Gemara, Savar Mina, so he thought about this and he asked, Afilu machteshes, afilu gigis. Let's say in my chutzner I have a big barrel. It's 10 by 4. I can't put something on top of the barrel inside my chutzner. What's going on? Amr lu Abaye responds, Hachi Amr Mar. This is what he means. Lo Amr Amir ela Amud. He did not say his din by an amud or amisrei chaim, only by an amud, by a pillar, or an amisrei chaim. Stationary items. They're items that are stationary. They stay there forever. Says Rameir, it stays there forever. Don't put something on top of it because you might come to put on your Rosh Hashanah. But if it's a movable item, like your barrel, like items like that, you have a big garbage can in your backyard. It's 10 by 4 maybe. You're not allowed to put something on top of it? Of course you could. You know why? Because it's movable. Says the Gemara, and we're going to have a bunch of pictures. Let's just finish reading the Gemara. Says the Gemara, what are you talking about? Wait, we have a wall that's between two chazeres. It's kavua. According to the rules you just told me what should come out, that when it's kavua, you should not be allowed to put something on it. V'amar Rav Yehuda, kishatim salaim v'devar amir gagin rishus la'atzman. Chaseris is just atzman. Karfifa is just atzman. My lab, what was that in? What does that mean? Says Rav Yehuda, when you taught me that according to Rameir, the roofs, the chatzar, the enclosures are all one rishos. What practical relevance does it mean that the chatzar is all around rishos? So said Rav Yehuda, my lab, the charlotte taltal derech kaisel. You know what the relevance is? If I have a chatzar and you have a chatzar and there's a wall down the middle, the case we've seen many times, that we're allowed to transport from one chatzar to the next through the roof. That's what you Rameir held, that they're all considered one rishos. But 1 second, according to the rules we just said a moment ago, a wall is stationary. So what happened to the gzeira of Rameir that whenever you're saying stationary, you're not allowed to put something on top of it because you might come to do the same rishos Rabbim? Amrav Huna, Amrav Yehuda, Amrav Sheshes. Loi. No. Lahachlan soizi derech psachim was a totally different thing. You're right. You cannot put something on top of the wall and transport it. You know why? Because you have an exer, like Rameir said. But it was talking about moving things via the doorways. Before we continue, let's just see some nice pictures. Here you have your amud, you have your pillar that's in your sayachid, and this is where the Gemara said that you can have a gezerah, you're not allowed to put something on top of it because you might come to do like this, that when the pillar is in the street, and when in the street it is a Rosh Hashanah inside a Rosh Hashanah, you might come to put something on there, which of course is forbidden. This was the Gemara's question. Ask the Gemara. You have a machteshes, you have your mortar, a giant mortar. Not sure what medications they're making in there. Or excuse me. Or you have a giant gigas, you have a giant barrel. You're not allowed to put things on top of it. This mamish looks like your garbage in your backyard. Says the Gemara, no, because there it's not stationary. Ask the Gemara, this is a nice chazar in these pictures. Ask the Gemara, what happened with the wall? In the case of the wall, seemingly that was the case that you told me that it's all considered one rishus, and I could transfer from one via the wall by putting it down. Answers the Gemara, no, that the case was the hachlas loisi derech psachim, that's where he meant. But when it's a wall, you are not allowed to put down on top of it. Back into the Gemara. That's the sheet of Rameir. We figured out why did Rameir differentiate between 10 tefachim tall roofs and differential 10 tefachim because of a new gzeira. Gzeira said, we have a gzeira that if we allow you to put something down on top of a pillar 10 tefachim, you might come to do that in Rishos HaRabim. Okay, we continue the opinion of the Chacham. Chacham said it's all their own Rishos. Itmar. Rav Amar Ein Mitalton Boy Ella Dalad Hamis. On the roof. How much can you carry on the roof? Says Rav, only 4 amis. We'll see Rashi in 1 minute. Ushmul Amar Mutter Lataltal Kulai. You let it carry on the whole roof. Let's see Rashi for 1 minute. Ela B'Dalad Amis, says Rashi. The Kivan Dil Rabbanan Kol Echad Rishos La'atzmai. It's a Din Rabbanan. Vehein Perutzin Zelazeh. And each roof is open to the neighboring roof. And they're parrots, they're fully open. Here's one roof, here's another roof. They're open completely into the other. So this is a rule that we've seen many times, that when one rishus is parrots to the other one, it asers it. So since one is fully open to the other one, that's why, says Rab, you could only carry 4 tfachim on your roof. And Shmuel says, no, you could carry on the whole roof. Says Gemara, what exactly is this machlekes? When you have recognizable mechitzas, which will show a picture, which shows what this means beautifully, that's not a machlekes. Then everyone agrees you can carry as much as you want. Here is the picture. Mechitzas anikares. Then you say godastic. What's going on over here? As you see, there's a separation between the 2 roofs. Something recognizable. So when it's noticeable and recognizable that it's roof A and roof B and there's a space in between, then we say godastic. It makes your imaginary wall all the way to the heavens. And then you can carry as much as you want. But says the Gemara, keep ligi, what is the machlekes Rav and Shmuel? When you don't have that space. Rav, Amrei Metalton Bayel Dalet Hamas. You only carry 4 amis, like we saw a moment ago, because it's parrots, it's fully open to the other rishos, so you can only carry 4 amis. We don't say good achas because it's not recognizable. Says Shmuel, even in this case, even when it's not recognizable, the 2 roofs are mamish flush with each other. You don't know where one is into the other. Says Shmuel, you still say good asik, you still have an imaginary wall, you can carry the whole thing. Rav says, no way, you don't have imaginary walls, you can only carry 4 tfachim. Now the Gemara is going to try to prove this. Tonight we learned in the Mishnah. V'chachamim ma'imrim, said in our Mishnah, Kol echad ve'echad, each and every one, moving along to Beitas Amid Beis, Rishos la'atzmai, each one is considered its own Rishos. Says the Gemara, according to Shmuel, that's great. They're each own Rishos. We say good achas, imaginary wall, and each one can carry as much as they want. El Rav, Kasha, according to Rav, what are you going to say? It sounds like in the Mishnah their own Rishos. Amri Bei Rav Mishmei the Rav. They answered up for Rav. You know what it means in the Mishnah that they're all their own rishos? That you're not allowed to carry 2 amos in this one and then 2 amos in this one. That's what the Mishnah meant. The Mishnah didn't mean it's really its own rishos that you could carry in the whole area. It meant it's its own rishos with regard that it can carry. I cannot carry half here and half there. Says the Gemara, 1 second. When I was in Bavel, they said over the name of Rav, they said Rav holds you can only carry 4 amos. And the yeshiva of Shmuel held Tanu ein lohen ela gagun. The yeshiva of Shmuel had a brisa that said you could only carry gagon, its roof. What does gagon, its roof, sound like? You could carry in the whole roof. Sounds like you could carry the whole thing. Not like the opinion of Rav that only allows for 4 amos. 4 amos. Says the Gemara, this brice that the yeshiva of Shmuel had, what does it mean that they only have that they have their roof? Sounds just like Shmuel, you could carry the whole thing. So the Gemara is asking, you, Rav, just answered up our Mishnah. That said, that when the Mishnah said it's rishos la'atzma, it's its own possession, that means that I can't carry 2 amos in my roof and 2 amos in your roof. Says the Gemara, but we have this whole story with the yeshiva that said that you're allowed to carry gagon, its roof, seemingly implying the whole roof. Says the Gemara, I don't understand. Is that Brisa or that Mishnah any better than our Mishnah? Our Mishnah also said Rishus la'atzman. What did Rav say? He answered, you can't carry 2 on this one and 2 on this one. Hachinami will answer up this Brisa the same way. So the Gemara effectively defends Rav's opinion, and we're back to our machlaikas. Rav says you could only carry 4 amos in the roof. Shmuel says you could carry the whhole roof. Amar Rav Yosef, again, we always remember Rav Yosef got sick, he forgot his learning. Says Rav Yosef, I never heard this halacha. So who now is going to remind Rav Yosef? His Talmud Abaye. Amar le Abaye, what are you talking about? Not what you're talking about. He didn't talk to his Rebbe that way. Abaye said, Rebbe, you taught us this halacha, and he taught us with regard to the following din. We have a big roof that opens into a small roof. This should be reminiscent of those days of that big chutzner opening into a small chutzner. Hopefully when we show the picture it will remind us. What's halacha? The large chutzner could carry. The small chatzar cannot carry. We asked on it. The din is only is only when they each live in their roof. They each have diurin, mishtamshus, usage in the big roof, usage in the small roof. Then we say the big roof is mutter, because it has mechitzas, and the small roof is aser, because it's open entirely into the big roof, which we'll show in the picture in a moment. Why? Because if they both use a roof, then the wall is like a wall that is trampled upon. Let's just go straight into the pictures to hopefully clarify things up. This was Rav's answer. You can only carry 2 amos in 2 amos. Says the Gemara, you have this large roof, as you see so beautifully, opening into a small roof. Says the Gemara, the large roof can carry, the small roof cannot carry. Says the Gemara, what is this din? It's only when they both use their roof. You know why? Because when they both use the roof, then what happens? You walk between the 2 roofs. Says the Gemara, as you see so beautifully, I don't know, this guy looks like he's looking for a shul. Not sure why he's looking on the roof. But says the Gemara that you walk directly over the roofs. And therefore, it's nidreshes, as you see those footprints. It's trampled upon. And that's the reason why the small roof cannot use their roof. Why? Because it's just busted open. They don't have mechitza. This big roof has these 2 little mechitzas over here. But the small roof does not. Says the Gemara, now let's continue. Now that hopefully things are a little bit clearer. Says the Gemara, Avol, ain't if they don't both have usage in their roof, then what? Shnei mutarin, then they are both mutter. Amrle, so we responded, this is what I'm going to tell you. When they both have mechitzas, they both have partitions. They call the mystery begufufi, the difference b'malu, b'maloi. Then the big chutzner has gefufi. It has walls on all 4 sides because it had those little walls surrounding, opening into the smaller chutzner. But the smaller chutzner is aser. Why? Because it's busted open entirely. Let's say they don't have mechitzas, they don't have partitions surrounding it. Then shnei masurim. Then they're both forbidden. Says the Gemara. So again, this was the conversation that Abaye reminded Rav Yosef's Rabbi the din, and he responded, "No, it's not true. What I really hold is that when they have a mechitza is one thing. When they don't have mechitza, then they're both forbidden." But says Abaye back to his Rabbi Rav Yosef, but the urine amrilon. Well, I remember that when you taught us this day, it had something to do with the urine, something to do with usage. But the way that you, Rav Yosef, just taught it to me, it had nothing to do with the usage. It had to do with their mechitzas or not. So what's interesting is in all the other Gemaras we had, Rav Yosef then said, you're right. Thank you for reminding me. Over here, Rav Yosef retorts back. He says, Rav Yosef, if I said to you urine, like you claim, great, this is what I meant. Has a wall that is usable wall. It's a good, firm wall, and therefore you can use this roof. The gadol, then what is the halacha? The gadol mystery b'gufufi, the katan nifritz b'maloi. Then the big one is mutter because it has walls on all four sides. It has a good, strong wall. Whereas the katan, the small chatzar, is going to be aser because it's busted open on the fourth side. Let's say the larger roof has good walls, but the smaller roof does not. Then afilu katan shari. Then even the small one is mutter libinei gadol. Then the large roof is allowed to carry on the small roof. My time. What's the reason? Since the small roof didn't put up a real mechitza, and as we see the picture, we'll explain this one step further. They removed themselves from over here. So let's see the picture. Over here, you see, it says the Gemara, this is only when they have real walls. Then when you see over here they have real walls, then the big roof has walls. It has the gefufi, like these little posts over here going into the smaller chutzner. But the smaller chutzner can't carry. Why not? Because its fourth wall is busted open entirely, so it's going to be ust. Says the Gemara, no, the case is when the bigger roof has real good walls. The smaller roof doesn't have good walls. As you see over here, they have just some flimsy, looks like caution tape almost, surrounding their roof. Then, says the Gemara, the gadol, the big roof, could use everything. Why? Because since the small roof people only put up these piece of tape, they showed we're not using the roof. So now the bigger people show they have usage of everything, and they can even use the other roof. As the Gemara concludes, and we'll finish for today, like Rav Nachman taught us, as a sulam kavua legagoy. If you make a firm sulam, a firm ladder, a permanent ladder, I should say, for your roof, then all the roofs in the whole city are mutter. Amar Abaye. Sorry, and that's Rav Nachman. So Rav Nachman is teaching us similar to our din. Just like in our din, the larger roof, they show that they're having usage and everything. So too, as you see over here in the picture, so too, if one person put up a sulam kavua, one person puts up a good ladder, then it shows, and you see very cute, it shows you all the other ladders are movable ladders. You see them lying down on the floor over here. So you see the one with the good ladder, he has usage, so he can use all the other roofs and not the other people. Amar Abaye, I'm sorry, so we'll finish this one more word. Amar Abaye, bana aliyah al gabe beisai. One more din about a roof. You built a little hut on your roof, and you made a little doorway, a little doorway in front of it. Arba, 4 tfachim. Then you're showing that you have a little roof up there, a little hut, a doorway, you're mutter in the whole roof. Amar Rava, Rava says no. Sometimes making the doorway will aser you. How's that you? Because when you make it opened up into the garden, because then people say you're doing it just to watch the garden. We'll finish with that. Let's just show the picture. Over here you see that if you make this little house and it has this little doorway open up into this massive chutzner, shows you having usage of the whole chutzner, it's all mutter for you. But says Rava, look over here. If the doorway is opening up facing the garden, as you see on the bottom, then it's not mutter. You know why? Because people are going to think, what do you make that daka? What do you make that doorway for? That doorway was just to watch the garden and not to use the whole roof. Therefore, will not be allowed. We'll pick up from here on Shabbos' daf. Everyone should have a fabulous Shabbos. If this is the last daf, you're full Shabbos. Looking